Hey everybody, I'm Perez Hilton.
And I'm Jaime Primak Sullivan.
And we're doing something I've never done before. Although
I haven't either.
I literally just did this a minute ago and the beginning sucked because I had Wi-Fi issues, so we restarted. So I literally have done this before, but going forward, I've never done this before. Jaime does a daily coffee talk on her Facebook page, and I talk daily all over the place. And we just had brunch, which was a godsend. I really needed a loving and supporting ear because, as my followers know, I've had a really genuinely sad and tough couple of days. And we were chatting, and she mentioned doing a dual live
Because let me say something.
Cawfee Talk, so here we are.
For those of you who watch Cawfee Talk every day, first of all, thank you. For those of you who may be new to Cawfee Talk, now we're doing it's Party Crashers. For those of you who may be new to Cawfee Talk is rooted in kindness, the social responsibility, and the human connection, which are things that I came to value as an adult. I was a mean girl, as they like to
You were?
the worst.
Oh, wow.
Which is why your story touched me so much, which is why I immediately said. So let me set it up for you really quick. Really quick.
We've known each other a long time.
New Jersey. We've known each other a long time.
A decade, right? Longer than a decade.
Over that.
Yeah.
I've known Perez since when he first kind of became Perez. And
I was the ultimate mean girl.
He was the ultimate mean girl. But at the time, I was like, yeah, draw penises on people's faces. I basically am that chick too, right? And he and I went through our individual metamorphosis, right? We're both butterflies now, but it took us a while. We spent.
Thankfully, we didn't peak when we were young.
No, some of us are still young.
I mean, when we were real young.
As you guys know, my pivotal point, we all have, those of us that were mean prior, or bullies, or whatever you want to call us, who are reformed or changed or works in progress or want to be different, whatever you want to call it, we all have that moment in our lives where we know we cannot go on the way we are going. So they always say, I think it was Maya Angelou,
when you know better, you do better.
When you know better, you do better.
One of my favorite quotes.
So for me, it was when I found God. When I found God in my mid-20s, once I could see, I could no longer pretend anymore. Treating people poorly didn't work for me anymore. Like, I felt gross. And I know, let me speak directly to my viewers for a second, and then Perez can talk to his. My viewers, there are a lot of you who are going to look at Perez Hilton and go, and let me tell you something. I get it. People looked at me the same way, and look how much you love me. So if you can just listen without judgment. Here's the beautiful thing about judgment. You can set it down and pick it right back up after you're done listening. If you have not felt changed, if your opinion or your view on somebody does not feel different after listening to what they have to say, you can pick your judgment, put it back on like a backpack, and keep going about your business. All I'm saying is people gave me a chance. They listened to me. I'm asking that you listen to Perez, listen to the story that he told me, why it touched me so much, and why I immediately said to him, please do a coffee talk with me, because it is in those pivotal moments in people's lives when they know that they have to make a U-turn, that making it off mean no longer works, that you can no longer hide behind cruelty, judgment, nastiness, meanness, when you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable, to get your feelings
to stop
heard,
hiding behind the mask.
Stop hiding behind the mask. If you could really listen to what he has to say, I think that you will love it. For those of you who know Perez, who follow him every day, then you guys already know how amazing he is. So I want to just really quick set up this coffee talk in that I did confess to you that I was a mean girl because hurt people hurt. My dad died when I was 17.
My dad died when I was 14.
I was very angry at the world. I had no answers. I was lost. I didn't have God. My mother went off the rails after my dad died. I felt completely alone. And so I found solace in cruelty to others because I felt like I had control. I felt like I was in power. The truth is you really have no control when you're mean because you're actually more vulnerable when you're mean because you have to constantly be working to keep up the facade. So I asked Perez at brunch today, and I'm going to let him take over now. And I said to him, you were making so much money off of being Perez Hilton, that brand. I mean, the penis on people's faces was literally like, it was like It was infamous. It really was. It was infamous. So, but you weren't just profiting in that way. You were getting invited to Hollywood events. You were walking red carpets. You were doing all music-wise. You were doing huge things. I was watching your career. You were getting to interview the Gagas of the world, and I mean, I think you broke like Let's Dance. I don't want to like or Just Dance, whatever the name of the song is. Forgive me. I'm not. I'm coming up on the Gaga thing. My assistant loves her, but I'm not a huge. But anyway, so yeah, so. I asked you what. So set up the world. You've created this empire as Perez Hilton.
Well, first I just want to say thank you to everybody on my channel who have sent me such amazing messages today, because I was really honest with them, and I always am honest. And you can be honest in different levels. Like, how honest do I want to be? I was so honest today. I ended up crying, and I hate crying on camera. That's not me. I have before, but I don't. I'm not that there's anything wrong with crying. Crying is healing, releasing the toxins. But I really allowed myself to go there, and I've always been honest throughout my whole career. And the thought of being a more positive person had come to me before I even made that change. I had actually been thinking about it.
I just want to tell y'all, I know, listen, I don't make Cawfee Talk religious, but I just have to tell you, that is the voice of God. That is nothing else. When you hear that whisper, like, you really could be doing it differently. You said it at brunch.
Yeah.
What did you tell me? The universe or God will tell you something.
And if you don't listen, it'll speak louder. And if you still don't listen, the universe, God, will speak even louder. And then if you're still not listening, it'll smack you upside the head and force you to listen. So now I'm 39 years old, and I've made this change now since 2010. But I first started to think about it in 2008. And that's when I began my journey to be a healthier person. And now, with perspective, I have found for myself, and I think this is a universal truth, the healthier you are,
physically,
the happier you are. Yes.
100%.
The healthier you are, happier you are. So, as I started to become a healthier person, focusing on eating cleaner, not drinking so much. Not that I ever was a big drinker or anything like that, but even drinking less. Like now, I barely even drink. I'll drink maybe like once every 5 or 6 weeks, because I don't really enjoy it that much anymore. I do like it when I go to like a fancy restaurant and have like a fruity, like, or something with like dry ice. Like, I love drinks that are experiences, but just drinking to drink, it's not for me. So I had been thinking of being more positive, but that nagging thoughts in my mind, or the devil, or whatever you want to call it, was, you can't do that. You've built your brand and done this a certain way for so long. That's like, you know, if you're a country singer and all of a sudden you want to be a rapper, you're going to flop.
Well, but look at Michael Jordan. When he retired from basketball and he said he wanted to play baseball, everybody tried to poo-poo him. And he said, I'm already Michael Jordan. You can't take that away from me. So if I go play baseball and I'm not great, I'm still Michael Jordan. I'm already great. And I thought that was so profound when I heard that. But I do get it, because part of the meanness is part of your brand. Like, even for me, I was the tough girl at parties. When I showed up at parties in high school, other girls left the party because they were afraid of me. That became empowering to me. That was part of my brand. So to become the girl that walked into a party very humbly and looking to make friends, they didn't know what to do with me. They were like, we don't buy that. You're not that person. So, okay, so
I'd been thinking about it for a while, and then it came to a point where I could no longer ignore that voice saying, make a change. And that happened in the fall of 2010, prompted by this college student in New Jersey named Tyler Clementi, this gay teenager who committed suicide. He jumped off a bridge. And after that, there was a rash of gay teenagers that were taking their lives. Over 12 gay teens committed suicide in the span of just a couple of months, and I had never seen anything like that before, and thankfully I've never seen anything like that since. There was this journalist, Dan Savage, who created this campaign called It Gets Better, which is really simple in concept. It just encouraged people to make videos to LGBT youth, letting them know that things would get better.
Yes.
So I found out about the It Gets Better campaign, I think the day that Dan created it, or within 24 hours, and I was the first public figure to make an It Gets Better video. And the response that I got to that video shook me to my core. I thought I was doing something positive, encouraging young gay people and letting them know my story and being uplifting. But people told me, how dare you make an It Gets Better video? You're a part of the problem. You're a hypocrite. You're a bully. And I just knew in my heart, that's not who I was. It's who I became. It's who I was in that moment, but it's not who I was in my core. And
isn't it profound, really quick, isn't it profound how our environments can perpetuate us becoming somebody we're really not?
Well, energy.
Like you literally find yourself down a path that you wake up one day and you go, how did I get here? This really is not who I am. Like, old Jamie is very real, but she isn't who I am. Like, before my dad died, I remember who I was. I was fun-loving. I loved people. I was funny. I told jokes. Food tasted good. Like, I saw the good in the world. And then my dad died, and I became this dark, it's almost like a Disney movie. I became like this dark, sort of like Maleficent type person, you know, minus the horns, but nothing tastes good to me anymore. I ate to live. I didn't live to eat. I just, like, I was numb. I did drugs. I drank because I became a shell of who I was. And people looked at me as that's who I was, the same way people looked at you and went, this is who Perez is.
Well,
but it's not. It's who we became.
Well, I didn't, until that moment, I didn't think that's who I became. And I would justify I would justify my behavior by telling myself, Perez is just a character. If people don't like what I'm saying, they shouldn't read it. And that would help me go to sleep at night. Oh, it's just a character. Or I'm just saying what everybody's thinking. And now I'm older. And listen, I'm so thankful that I made that change. Because some people don't.
Ever. Can you imagine people go through life as angry and hurt and guarded
or
and
completely immature too.
But they never have that transformation.
Like, some people are 40 and still behave like they're 20. Like, I'm a grown-ass person, responsible, with kids that I support and that I am the most bomb-ass dad for. But I also, like, I'm not all Pollyanna either, and and I'm not perfect, and I still make mistakes, and this is the thing.
Daily.
You know, some people, like, when they do an interview, and I've seen people talk, like, oh, do you have any regrets? And a lot of people say no, because it all led me to where I am now. I say I have a ton of regrets.
I have a ton of regrets.
And not only regret, I have deep shame. I have shame for my past that I carry with me, and that I will carry with me for my whole life. Because if I say this with 100% truth and to the core of my being, if I could go back in time and change things, I would. And here's why. Here's something that I've discovered. I realized this in 2000. I'm like OCD about dates. In 2015, I had this experience on this TV show where I came face to face with somebody whom I saw as a reflection of my past. And I felt like the universe put me in there to cleanse my karma, and it did. And I realized, you know what? She's behaving in this way for certain reasons. I was behaving how I thought I was at the time because it was working and it was getting me attention. But I realized now, you know what? No matter what, I would have been successful. I didn't need to do that because I am special. And I don't mean that in a cocky way. I really believe that every single person watching this video is special.
What do I say all the time? You were created to be outstanding.
Yes.
That's in your very creation, in your makeup. You were created to be outstanding. Nobody can be you.
I
Nobody
believe
can
that.
be you. Nobody can be me.
I believe that. And sometimes people don't get that. And when I speak to college students or when I speak to high school students, I explain it to them this way. Because they think, oh, snowflake, whatever. Everybody's a snowflake. No. Everybody truly is special, right? Some people have the false idea that ideas are special. Ideas are not special. Two people on completely different sides of the planet could have the same revolutionary idea, but execute it in completely different ways. So the idea is not special, it's how you execute it. It's what you bring to the idea. You are special, not the idea. So when each and every one of you finds what it is that makes you special and different and shares it with others, that's when success will happen. And I realize now that I would have still been fucking successful. You maybe don't curse on yours.
I try not to.
I know. I would have been really successful even if I hadn't behaved how I did in the past because I'm special.
Well,
and because I work really hard and because that was meant to be. It was destined for me and I fulfilled my destiny, I believe.
Well, now you just do it in a way that actually positively contributes to the lives of others instead of yourself.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm still learning and I'm still growing and I'm not perfect. And I think it's also a good lesson that you don't have to reinvent the wheel, as I say. Just put new rims on it. Like, some people still don't like me, and that's fine. So I just don't
Some people still don't like me.
I just don't want people to think that I'm contributing to the downfall of society. Like, perfect analogy or example, Rosie O'Donnell. A lot of people don't like Rosie O'Donnell, but I would hope they don't think she's an evil person. I don't think she's an evil person. I don't think she's making the world a worse place. Before I made this change, a lot of people probably thought I was an evil person. A lot of people probably thought I was making the world a worse place. It's my hope now that people say, all right, I don't like what he does.
But it's also perspective. And I say that to say this. When I was a bully, okay, after I was saved and like I made my change, I was in New York one day and I was on the corner of 50th and Park and it was pouring rain, okay? And I went to the corner and it was pouring down rain and I said to the girl next to me, where are you headed? And she was like under this umbrella and she said downtown. And I said, me too, do you want to share a cab? Because it was Friday, there were no cabs, and it was pouring. And we were all the way on 50th and Park, and I had to get to 3rd between 1st and A. For those of you who are from New York, I might as well have been walking to China. Okay? So she said, sure, I would love to. And I said, I'm Jamie. And she went, now I know that look. That's the I know you from somewhere look. And she said, are you Jaime Primak? And I said, I am. And she said, you probably don't remember me, but we were in gym class together. You were a senior when I was a sophomore. And I said, oh, hi. You went to the township? She goes, yeah. And she looked right at me, and it was like a scene from a movie. The rain was pouring down. She made dead eye contact with me, and she said, you made my life a living hell. I thought about killing myself because of you. I hated high school because of you. So no, I don't want to share a cab with you. And I was like, it was like all the air had been sucked out of me. And I realized in that moment that our actions have consequences, lasting consequences. And I said to her, of course, I went into, PR mode. I was like, what can I do? Can I fix it? Can I apologize? Will you listen to me? I'm not the same person, blah, blah, blah. And she said, I'm sure you're not the same person, but it doesn't change the interaction that we had together. And I'm happy that you're a different person, and I'm happy you've been saved, but you ruined my whole high school experience. And if she could have understood in my senior year how damaged I was, my father died on Halloween, which left the whole year of me just self-destructing, but she didn't care. She didn't care that my father died. But I'm saying, sometimes we reinvent ourselves and we grow and we change, but there are still going to be people who have been affected by our negativity who are not, who may see the value in us being different, but at the same time, they've had their experience with us. So it is what it is. So do I have regrets? I have so many regrets. If I could do things differently, first of all, I wish that I had different support systems in place to lose a parent at 17, but also I wish that I just had faith to, I wish I was brave enough to allow myself to have stayed vulnerable and not felt like I needed to bow up and get tough on people, because I missed out on so much the years that I was hurting people. And so I say that to you because something that you said before. I mean, the fact is that you can be different and you can clear the air, but the truth is that our actions have consequences. And
I know, and I still feel the consequences of my actions.
Last week that there were still people who you feel were still tainted by the old Perez, and it's like no matter how much good you do, and in your life, for those of you listening, no matter how much good you do, there are still going to be people who want to bring up your past because it validates their judgment. It validates their negative feelings about you. They don't want to let you heal. They don't want to let you grow. They don't want to let it go, because in letting it go, they have to release their judgments of you. And some people want to hold on to that. They feel better. This girl was not in any place to let her judgments go of me. She was not in a healing place. She was not in a forgiving place. I hope wherever she is, I know who she is. I've sent her messages. She has not responded. I hope that at some point in her life, she gets to a place where she is ready to let it go. But it's giving up a lot of control. Letting it go for her means that she feels like letting it go means the hurt didn't happen. The things that I did affected people. I acknowledge that. The hurt I caused is real. It affected people. You can forgive people and still acknowledge that it happened. There are people, mutual friends that we have, who have been hurt by you. My hope for them is you can still acknowledge that the hurt happened, but you can also acknowledge he's not that person anymore. Like, you're not that person anymore.
Some people, maybe I'm just in a hole right now. I'm feeling down, which I am, but I'm in a place where I'm thinking, I don't know, some people will never be able to see past my past. And that's fine. I hope that's not true. I hope some people in the future can see me for who I am today. But I also know I'm the hardest working person, and even if I continue to get setbacks because of my past, I will never give up. I don't give up. I work harder.
I do too. We need to work on your shirt.
On my shirt?
I don't even know what to say about the fact that there are 1,000 Big Macs sitting next to me right now, but this is cracking me up. Anyway, I wanted to share this with you guys because sometimes, it's funny. When we see flawed people, we throw judgments and bricks at them and say, you need to change. You need to see the error of your ways. You need to be different. And then when they make the change, we judge the change. It's not sincere. It's not real. You are such an asshole. It can't be both ways. There are so many of us who wish we could go back in our lives and do things differently. I know I am one of them. I know I almost called you Mary.
That's not good.
I know Perez also wishes that he could do things differently, but the beauty of us now is that we actually walk the walk. We try every day, like he said. We both make a lot of mistakes.
And the big difference, though, is that in the past, I knowingly did things that were hurtful.
Same.
And I would justify. I was like, well, I'm only saying what everybody's thinking.
Yeah, nope, you can justify it.
And I'm doing this to get a rise out of people.
Now if I hurt people, it's so unintentional.
Yeah, exactly.
And I apologize.
Exactly.
I own it,
exactly.
fix it, and move on.
It happens.
I set myself free from it all the time. I go to people and I say, I'm sorry for what I did. This morning, on this morning's Cawfee Talk, I referred to the man in the airport last night as old, and there were a few people who reached out to me and said, Jamie, you have older viewers, and it is hurtful when you state an age and you claim it as old. Absolutely. I own it. I am so sorry that I made you feel that way. I will be so much more mindful of that in the future, and let's move on. Done. You don't have to harp on it. You can own the issue, you can fix it, and you can let it go. That's the way I live my life now. Collectively, between the two of us, we have 5 children, all really good looking. I'm just saying. I mean, I might be a little biased, but our children are really good looking. And I just thank God. Yes, I said it. I thank God that I was saved or healed so I could help heal others before I became a mother. Because I don't know what type of children I would have been raising if I was still the old Jamie. Like, I can't vouch for what kind of people I would have been putting into the universe. My legacy will be that I am leaving 3 empathetic, God-fearing, kind children in the world. That is what I'm leaving behind. He's leaving 2. really, really cute ones. And I thank you so much for doing this with me.
Thank you.
Because
I feel everything happens for a reason, and I needed to do this today because I don't even like using the D word, depressed, but...
Oh, I have a different D word.
I feel anxiety a lot as a parent, and my obsessive thinking, I obsess about the future and okay, I need to make sure I'm so type A. So I'm usually an obsessive and often battle anxiety, but only rarely do I feel depression or depressed, and I feel like I was sinking and leading down a depressive hole.
Then I said, do you want to have brunch?
Yes. And and everything happens for a reason, and I needed this, and then I needed this too, and I feel lighter and brighter, lighter and brighter. So thank you guys for watching, and thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Y gracias por todo.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Oh.